Hello. It's me, Jamia, the IEP Coach. I am coming on because I am currently working on an IEP. And if you see me turn this way, I have my IG live here, and then I have my Facebook and my YouTube on my computer screen. And I just wanted to come on to show you guys what it is like, what the process is like when it's time to write an IEP. Now, believe it or not, I know I'm the IEP coach. Writing the IEP is not my favorite thing to do because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of preparation and setting aside the time to just sit still and write the IEP. So it is not my favorite thing to do, but I'm just coming on just to show you what I do to set myself up for success for when it's time for me to write my IEP. So first off, I have to set aside a couple hours. If I can set aside 2 hours, 3 hours, that's what I do. So that because I need to not be bothered for like that amount of time because I have to, write this education plan. Also, hello. Also, I have to listen to something while I am working. So right now, I have jazz music playing on my television because it just sets the mood for me. I don't know if you can see, but I have a candle lit as well by my TV. I really set the mood because I need to be relaxed and calm while I am writing an IEP. It's just what I do. I don't know if you do something else. If you do something else to set the mood while you're writing an IEP, feel free to drop it in the comments. But I definitely have to just woosah so I can get ready to write this IEP. Now, some pre-work that I also do is I send teacher report templates to the scholars teachers. So with a teacher report, it's basically all of their present grade teachers will complete a input form for their content area. So there's one for ELA, science, social studies, math, whatever their classes are, the main subjects, they get a teacher report and they complete one. So basically, the information on that teacher report is going to give me insight into how the student is performing in that content area. So if it's ELA, I'll have a section pertaining to decoding, fluency, comprehension, inferential comprehension, constructive response comprehension, things like that. If it's math, it's calculations, it's word problems, etc. They'll put the current scores they've gotten on quizzes, on assessments, and then any social emotional information that I'm trying to get, like what are the students' interests, what is the students' behavior currently in your class. So that's all. So that's all information that I will input, that the teachers will input on their input form. Now, also, if there are any related services from that the student receives, that related service provider will also send me a progress report of how they're doing with that related service because they have goals that the related service provider has been working on, and we have to present the data of how they're doing with their academic goals if they have them, with their related service goals if they have them. So that's that. So related service providers give input, the teachers give an input form as well. Another thing that I do is I will send an input form. I also call the parent too, but I also do an input form. I'm just going to hold this all the way back. It's an input form that I also give parents so they can document what they are seeing, with their student. And then I also call as a follow up. Oh, I saw that you put this on the input form. They may have a question. And I'm also just following up that I understand what they sent me in the input form. So you always want to contact the parent as well because you need to get their input. And I also like the form too because I have documented input versus just me calling them and I'm taking notes while I'm talking on the phone. So I like to do both. Now, some people like to just do a form and others want to just do the phone call. I do both. I do the input, the form just so that I can have that documented. and I can put it in their file as well. And I can always refer back to it. So what I'm talking on is also talking points for me when I call the parent on the phone, because then I can say, oh, in the input form, I saw that you put blah, 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 blah. Like on one input form that I had, the parent wanted to have their child exited. So I said, I saw that you put this on the form. Do you still feel this way? Why do you feel this way? So it was a whole conversation that we had. And then I had to relate the information to, my district, to my district head. So that way they are aware there is a parent that wants her child exited. And this is why she wants them exited, because then we have to have a different type of meeting. Okay. So yes, the input form, it is helpful in terms of the feedback. Yes. So I just started that this year. Previously, I always would just call the parent and take notes. And when they have a reevaluation, there's always a parent input section for that. So they always get that sent to them. But I started doing that this year, just as another form of documented information from the parent, because any information you get from the parent, you definitely want to document it. So if you do have the conversation with a parent and they say things, give you information or whatever, always follow up with an email just say, just to follow up, thank you for taking my call. It was great speaking with you. You shared with me, blah, 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 blah. And that's just another way to cover yourself, just in case anything happens. You're covering yourself. You have documentation that, oh, there was a phone call today. And I always CC my director and my principal in my emails, so that way they know this parent and I had a conversation. And this is what we had a conversation about. So this this is just from just how I've worked over the years, because you have to cover yourself, because there are some parents that are out to sue you and will say, oh no, you didn't have a conversation with me. Oh, I didn't email you. We didn't have this conversation. And it's, yes, you did. So it's like, this is just another step to take to follow up with parents if you had like conversations with them on the phone. And so this is something that I do all the time. And then also by CCing my director and my principal, is keeping them in the loop. So yes, so it's just an extra cover, for you in the event something happens, you have that follow up. So I contact parents. I have parent input form. I have the parent input form. And I get the teacher reports. I get the related service provider reports. I get all those. So those are like basically the team. I always touch base with like the nurse. I touch base with the guidance counselor, so they are aware that I'm working on this particular student's IEP. So that way I am getting a full shot of the kid and their progress. And also I speak with the guidance counselor and the nurse, just in case they want to touch base with the parent, because it's possible they've been trying to reach the parent and they can't. The fact that I'm having an IEP meeting is a perfect opportunity for them to touch base with the parent to share any other information. Alrighty. So after I do that, I then go on to the school system to get all of the students' data. So any testing data, benchmarks, state assessments, I go on the system, so that way I can get that data, because that's data that I'll put into their IEP as well. And one more thing that I do is I have a draft template that I put all of the information in from the teacher report. So I'm basically summarizing what the teachers have in their teacher report. I put that in my draft. I put all the related service provider information in my draft. Any information that I received from the Let me see, any information that I've received from the related service providers, the nurse, the guidance counselor, I put that information in my draft as well. In the event that for some reason someone can't access their IEP online or it may have been misplaced, I'm able to pull up my draft IEP because I've put all the goals that were on the IEP, academic, related service, any goals that was created on that, any goals that were created for that student, I put that on my draft as well, and I save that in my files just for myself, so that way I know what I have, like a one sheeter or two sheeter of, because IEPs get long, one to three pager of everything that was in that IEP. If I need to just glance quickly, so I know like what was in the IEP versus going through all those pages, every single thing that every recommendation is in my draft template. Great, you can hear me. Great. Is in that template, and I save that template just for my records, so that way I can always refer back to it instead of reading through a whole IEP. So that's another thing that I've done to just to organize myself, is creating that template. And I have the recommendations on that template. I have every placement that's being recommended, any related services that are being recommended, testing accommodations, everything. I have that on my template as well. And again, that's just like a brief synopsis of their IEP. In the event I am unable to pull up their IEP from the IEP system that is being used, I have that. Even though when I do IEPs, when they're finalized, I do download them to my computer. But again, sometimes some people want to know, quickly, what are the testing accommodations? Now, testing accommodations, I don't have all that memorized in my head. I don't. So it's like, I know all the kids that have an IEP. I know their placement, but there's some things I have not memorized because it's just too much. There's no way for me to memorize everybody's information. So then I pull up my IEP draft, and then I can just go to like the second or third page, and I'll see, they have small group testing, they have human reader, they have blah, 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 blah. So that's just an easy reference for myself. Okay, so I do teacher input forms. I get input forms from any related service providers. You're welcome. Sweetest thing events, no problem. I get the input from teachers. I get the input from all related service providers, and I touch base with the nurse and guidance counselor. So everybody gets a heads up. So that way everything I put on my template, I put into the actual IEP for the student. And I use my IEP draft template because sometimes I need to get access to the student's information real quick. I don't need to go through a whole IEP. So that's another reason why I do the draft, is because it's a quick 1 to 3 pager of the summary of the student's IEP, which is very helpful for me when I'm just trying to get quick information, because there's no way for me to memorize every student's placement, every student's services, any accommodations. No way for me to memorize all of that. So that's another reason why I do my template. And I also once the IEPs are finalized, I also download the IEP to my computer and I save it in a file on my computer. I also print it out and I put it in a student's file as well. So we have the physical file, we have an online copy of the document, of the IEP document, and also in the file is also all progress reports, evaluation, reevaluation reports, anything pertaining to that scholar's special education services are in that file as well. So that is basically what I do when I'm writing an IEP. Like I said earlier, I like to set the mood. I light a candle. I have jazz music playing because I like jazz music. I know someone had mentioned that they listen to classical music. I listen to classical music too, but jazz just put me in a whole different vibe. It's a whole different vibe. It puts me in a whole different mood because I try to be relaxed as possible when I'm doing when I'm about to write an IEP. And I also make sure I set at least 2 hours aside to write an IEP because they do take time to write because you have to go back, make sure there are no grammatical errors, make sure you didn't accidentally write the student's nickname instead of their birth name. You need to definitely put the birth name. Don't put nicknames because this is a legal document. And also, you just want to make sure it reads well. Make sure it's flowing and make sure you didn't miss any information. So that's why it takes a long time, and this is why I don't like writing IEPs. I'm the IEP coach, but that is my least favorite thing to do is writing an IEP. I love supporting teachers and I love supporting parents with understanding them, supporting teachers with how to write them, supporting teachers with how to organize themselves. But I do not like to write IEPs because they take so long to do. And I have two that I need to do. So I'm just getting myself in a nice mood to get ready to write these IEPs. So what I want you to do, please comment on this video and let me know, what do you do for those of you who are special education teachers, or if you are related service providers, what do you do to get yourself in the mood to write your documents, to write your reports? How do you set your mood? Like, how do you do it? How do you just get yourself in that vibe to write your reports? I would love to hear from you. As always, please reach out to me. You can DM me. You can email me at Jamilah, JAMILAH, at the IEP Coach LLC.com. You can comment on the video. You can also message me on Facebook on my page, the IEP Coach LLC. I'll see you next time.